What's going on? Muhammad, what's happening? Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? How are you,
May
my
Allah
good brother?
bless you, keep you well. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
I've seen you on the internet, but I've never watched any of your clip fully. So forgive me if. So I have to confess
That's
first
fine.
that I don't really know your position.
Well, honestly, I would say the same. Obviously, your clips come up often because we're having to deal with the same, in regards to the Sunnis, with the same lies. But yeah, I do see some of your work, and I see how your people respect you a lot. So I think it's a pleasure talking to you, and I think it would be
Sure,
very
my
fruitful
pleasure.
for us to maybe come together and have a discussion.
Of course, of course. Yeah, where do you live? Where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Syria, but I spent most of my life traveling because of my father's employment. But then when I was older, well, we eventually moved to Canada. But then in the last 5, 6 years, I've been also traveling the world. Work remotely, so I can work anywhere, and I just use it as an opportunity to try to improve the world the best as I can.
Good for you. Good for you. Thank you for coming here. So now go ahead and enlighten us. What's on your mind?
So I was wondering if you would be interested in maybe having 1 or 2 debates in regards to, well, the first debate that I had in mind is if the Quran is sufficient, as in, is it sufficient for guidance, and do you need anything else for you to be quote unquote Muslim? Or the second topic, which one is defensive and one is more so, you would be on the defensive, which is Shia or Shiaism, is it compatible with the message of the Quran? So I'll leave the ball in your park and let you decide.
So yeah, I would very much wouldn't mind. Yeah, sure. But I think that is at least the second one would make sense. The first one, I don't think anybody with common sense would even question that. You really think Quran is sufficient? You don't need anything else? You really believe?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised with the answers you get.
So explain to me, if Quran is enough. Have you found any Muslim who doesn't believe in Quran?
Well, everyone tells me that the Quran is sufficient, yet for you to be able to follow the Quran, you need.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody says Quran is sufficient.
And what I find, most of the people will say that as religious
common folks,
they
don't know what they're talking about, and they do not really understand perhaps your question. But I don't think there's any Muslim sect, any Muslim denomination whose leaders would say, "Oh, only Quran. Quran is enough, and we do not need anything but Quran." So is that what you really believe? That we do not need for guidance anything except the noble Quran? Is that what you believe in?
Yes. So for me, my position is there's no religious authority for me to follow the blessed prophet outside of the Quran. So when it comes down
the Quran
to hadith,
is enough,
whether Sunni or Shia, yes, as religious guidance.
And you said that you have not found any Muslim who says otherwise, that I do not believe Quran. Have you found any Muslim who says Quran is not enough, or Quran he doesn't believe in Quran?
Plenty. For you to follow the Quran, you need to also accept the Sahih Hadith for the Sunnis. The Sunnis says that how are you going to be able to pray without the Hadith, or how do you know how to do zakat or Hajj, and the usual questions? How do you know that gold is haram for men without Hadith, when God clearly never stopped? Music is haram. So this is all these nonsense that they keep throwing at me, which is not in the Quran.
But you believe that everybody believes in the noble Quran, right? That's the word of Allah, and we have to follow it.
They believe in it. A majority of the people believe in it the same way they believe that the gospel is from God. But do they follow it and implement it? I don't believe so. The majority don't. They've taken it, forsaken.
So why do you think, if you're so sure, all Muslims have been so mistaken? Because there's nobody else who believes in what you believe in, right? The Quran is sufficient, and you're not going to take anything but the noble Quran. Why? Are you more intelligent than the rest, or you're a genius who was discovered?
Historically, it's been proven that there has been quite some prominent figures that have the same position as me. You have a Shafi'i debating a group that he named them as الذين ردوا الأخبار كلها, because back in the day, narrations were called akhbar. Now we call them hadith. So our position was evident in the beginning. But the same question can be asked about the Christians. So for 1900 years, have they been deluded? And only the Unitarian Christian, which is a small group that say that Jesus is not God, are they right? So I don't think majority or what the people did for 1300 years really counts.
With Christians, we know their problem, that their leaders from early age, they changed their message. But with Muslims,
I
guess you believe the Quran has not been changed, right?
No, the Quran,
So
God
Quran,
says he preserved the remembrance more so than the Quran is itself in its entirety.
Okay, and then Quran has not undergone the same fate as the Bible and the Evangel. And Muslims, of course, they've always read and recited the Noble Quran, and there are so many books of commentary written on the Noble Quran. So why the majority lost this point?
And you can see the corruption in the Bible within the corruption. I mean, within the Bible itself. You don't need to go to an external source to tell you that the Bible has been modified. But with the Quran, we don't see that.
So tell me why? Then why? People of the vast majority,
because that's the
99.99, including Shafi'i that you mentioned, he believes that Sunnah has to be followed. So why? What's the reason?
No, so we're not.
Why Quran itself has failed? Look, Quran is sufficient for guidance, right? And Muslims read Quran, memorize Quran. All Sunni scholars, most of them, they memorize the Noble Quran, start reciting Quran. First thing they learn is reciting the Noble Quran. And they spend their time with the Noble Quran. All Muslim scholars, and thousands of books of tafsir has been written. So why? Why you think Quran has been unable to guide them? That only Quran is enough.
So the Quran does guide them to a certain level, but they also accept the lies that have come before them. So if someone's going to be objective in applying or objective in his approach to the Bible, he could realize that Jesus cannot be the Son of God. So it's about the objective nature of what the person
I'm not an authority on Jesus and Christianity. So forgive my ignorance that I cannot really relate to that. So these kind of syllogism.
Just so you know,
it's not really a good example, but it showed. But I think it's quite evident to me. If Quran was enough for guidance, why didn't the Quran guide them? That only Quran is enough. Why these people who are sincere? It's not that they're stupid, they're not learned, they're not sincere. Why Quran was unable to tell them that these things before you are lies?
It was able to tell them, but they did not objectively look at it. So when God says, وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ, right? The majority will not believe in God unless they associate to Him. So the concept of association to a human being is
how did Quran,
extremely common.
My dear sir, how did Quran guide them? Nobody realized what the Quran's guidance was. See, if there's a light here, if this light is really working, then I'm going to see around me what's there, right? You're saying Quran is enough, that light, that I could see everything. Why Quran was unable? Quran is enough. So we have scholars of Quran.
The Quran is saying that.
Yeah, okay. So explain to me. If only Quran, why all these scholars, all these sects, they all disagree on everything else, but they agree on the Noble Quran, that is a book of authority you have to follow, and they're sincerely trying to understand and follow the Noble Quran. Why Quran was unable?
Because of the lack of sincerity, actually. It's the lack of sincerity. They're giving
everybody was insincere.
Things that they need to prove. The majority, yes. The majority.
All these people who read Quran, it was because they were hypocrites.
This is appeal to majority. The majority. Well, and if you listen to the majority of the world, they will delude you off the way of God. This is in the Quran.
Another point. Tell me,
but
according to you,
sir, my good brother, I was hoping that we can have a formal debate. I know this is a nice.
I'm just trying to understand. Believe me, before a debate, I need to understand what your belief is, because I don't know really your belief.
Yes,
so I want to understand.
As religious authority, the Quran is sufficient. That's what I was trying to say.
So let me ask you this question.
Law outside of the Quran, we don't take.
Let me ask you this question so I understand your belief, because this you believe. I know the Sunni beliefs very well, on Tawheed, on Quran, on Tafsir, on different thing. I know the Shia beliefs, and a lot of people, I do not know their beliefs. So I'm trying to understand your belief. Tell me this with regard to the Noble Quran, because Quran, some ayat are mutashabihat, some are muhkamat. What's the ratio, in your opinion, between mutashabihat, that they're on their own?
It's not a number that I looked into.
But do you have an idea? Like, it's a 2/3,
yes,
half and half?
No, I wouldn't say that. I say that the muhakkamat is a lot more present, and the mutashabihat is very small in numbers. Because mutashabihat people like to translate as ambiguous, but that's not the proper way of saying it. Because God says it's a clear book. How can something be clear and ambiguous? This is a contradiction. Mutashabihat is things that are similar in nature. So there's verses that are similar where people go deviate in them, and those are very minimal. I can give you examples if you want.
Oh, so they're very minimal. So how? How minimal?
I don't know. I didn't quantify them. I have to say the
So,
truth. So
like
at this
in-
point, you're telling me to quantify
in Surah
something. I
Al-Fatiha,
don't think that
Surah
the majority of the
Al-Fatiha,
Quran is mutashabih.
Surah Al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Now in this, is there any mutashabih in this verse? In this surah?
No,
Everything is muhkam.
no, it's very all precise. Everything
In
is
the light of
extremely precise.
Quran itself, in the light of Quran itself,
Yes.
without
Yes.
without taking
So-
assistance from anyone else.
Yes, so Sirat al-Mustaqim is well defined in the Quran. Ad-Dallin is well defined in the Quran. Or وَالَّذِينَ فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ is defined in the Quran. وَالَّذِينَ عَلَيْهِمْ غَضَبٌ. Those are all very well defined in the Quran.
Okay. So I know those definitions are for sure. There's no ambiguity in those definitions.
God says clearly, الَّذِينَ هُمُ الضَّالُّونَ. So God is defining to you who is ضال.
Yeah.
الَّذِينَ
Okay.
عَلَيْهِمْ غَضَبٌ مِنَ اللَّهِ. So
الصراط
والصراط
المستقيم.
المستقيم.
How would you translate صراط المستقيم?
The straight way or the straight path.
A straight path. So it cannot be literal, right? You agree?
In this case, no, God has defined it to us as something that is.
Can we start
it's
from
a
here?
way.
Let's start from here. So from Surah Al-Fatiha, would you like for us to have a discussion whether indeed you're saying there's no ambiguity here, and Quran is sufficient to
There's no
explain itself?
in the lights of the Quran. In the lights of the Quran, there is no ambiguity in the Fatiha. But brother, I just also want to stress something to you. I was hoping we could set up a debate. I do have another interview or a podcast in within 5 minutes.
Sure, my pleasure.
Invited me over.
Oh yeah.
But the people around you who really respect you, who say that you're very well spoken and you know your material, they kept pushing me to come talk to you. And I think there's a good brother. His name was always Sayyid Ali. And they all told me to come talk to you. So we're hoping to see.
So I would like to start with you from Surah Al-Fatiha, that you're saying everything here is clear from within the light of Quran. Can we talk about this surah?
Sure.
Okay. Let's. We are going to correspond and we're going to set a time. So what's a good time for you, hour-wise? Forget about the date.
Whenever would work with you. I'm very flexible with my time. As long as it doesn't go over my prayer time, we're good.
Okay. I'm gonna.
You could say I'm in Middle Eastern time. So Istanbul time.
All right. I'm going to ask Brother Owais is going to communicate with you, deliver, set the time. I'll inform them. I'll look at my calendar. These days are very busy for me.
I'm okay with whatever format you want.
Okay. Yeah. With this format.
Sorry, I know there's a delay in the voice, but from what I've watched, you've always conducted yourself in a very civil and a peaceful manner until the person crossed you. I will promise you, as God is my witness, because this is a rule upon us, I will be as civil as you want. I don't think we need a moderator, and I think we could get along and have a proper discussion. So
awesome. Good. Thank you so much for being here with us, brother. May Allah bless you.
Thank you.
Okay.
God bless you more, man. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Allah
it.
bless you.